So how would you describe that graph? Well, I'm going to be giving you a couple of alternative descriptions using different verbs, using different expressions, and this will help you in your next presentation, I hope, to have some variety. Hello everyone, my name is Rich Walton. I'm a business English teacher, trainer, as well as a general English trainer. This is part 2 of a series of 3 that I'm doing regarding describing business graphs, describing and talking about data or data in American English, and how to describe a very, very simple graph like this one I've got here. So I'd like to just show you a very quick clip of why I chose this line. It was inspired by some beautiful mountains where I was walking just recently. So just watch this clip and then we'll start the description. So I'm here in the Dolomites, just north of my hometown in Treviso in Italy. I'm on a Sunday morning walk, but I saw this very, very beautiful mountain range in the background here. I don't know what it's called. I will write it when I get back to my office. Anyway, I thought it had an interesting line which I can use as the basis of my next graph, which I'm going to describe to you now. So, hope you enjoyed the video, and hello and welcome to the Dolomites in northern Italy. It's worth seeing. They are very spectacular, the Dolomite Mountains. So remember, stay watching, because after I've given my first basic description of this graph, a quick description really, I will be giving more detail with some alternatives, showing a close-up of the particular part of the graph. So here's a general description of this 13-month period in the life of a new product, expressed in millions of dollars from $1 to $5 billion. So, sales. We launched the product in January, so obviously 0 sales, but they grew steadily in the first quarter from January to March, and they reached a total of 2 million by the end of March. Then they leveled off and they stayed constant but flat at 2 million for 5 months until the end of July. There was a slight dip in sales in the middle of August, then a recovery back to the 2 million mark, then a second dip in the middle of September. But then sales really did recover very well, and they climbed to 2.5 million in mid-October. Then steady for a month, then they really took off. And climbed very fast to reach a peak of $4.5 million by the 3rd week in December. So having reached a peak of $4.5 million in the 3rd week in December, there was an understandable small decline, and then after the first week in sales of January, they really plummeted down to their former level of around 2.5 million. And that's where we are today. Sales stand at 2.5 million, 13 months from the product launch. So there you are, a quick description of this particular situation in a product's sales life over a 13-month period. Now I'm going to switch to computer graphics now and voiceover. So keep watching, and I will give you some more detail to this description. Thanks for watching. So let's start with a list of the key words which I used in the presentation, and as you can see there's quite a few. Launch, grow, a first quarter, reach a total, level off, stay constant, and flat.
And here's the second group. Dip, that's a verb and a noun. Slight. To climb, steady. Take off, reach a peak. Decline, plummet, and stand at. So let's have a look at the meanings of these words. So first thing is the product launch, and to launch means to make the product available to be purchased. I use the word to grow. It means to increase, so sales grew. And then I use the adverb steadily, which means gradual, usually slow movement. And we're describing this line here, which is a popular expression to level off. It really means you reach a certain level and then the sales or the volume stay the same or remain the same. And we can say they remain constant or stay constant or remain flat. Three ways very commonly used to describe this situation, this trend where there's no change. Sometimes it's a little negative to say sales are flat because obviously it means there's no movement up. Now here's a nice word. As you can see, it's describing a small decrease in this sales. This is a verb and a noun, to dip or a dip. I think it's used quite often to describe a temporary decrease in sales before a recovery. It's a term very frequently used also in economics when people are talking about a recession or a recessionary period or a recessionary trend. We talk about a dip in the economy, and there's even the term double dip, and it was used in the recent recession in England. The adverb slight, now that is used very frequently, and it just means a small or minor change in movement or trend. Right, the next movement is definitely an increase, and I use the verb to climb. Sales climbed. You can actually use the noun to climb also in this description. Then I explain the next movement as it remained steady. This means no change or very little change. And then sales really took off. That is a fast upward movement. The verb is to take off, like a plane that takes off. And then the peak, that is the highest point. And I've mentioned this before in another video. This is equivalent to the mountain peak. Following this line is a decline. That's another verb to describe a decrease or a reduction, and that's appropriate in this trend. Here's a lovely word, to plummet. It's a verb and it means a very fast downward movement from a high position. So it means a bit of a disaster, usually when you describe sales plummeting, because it means they've drastically reduced in a downward direction. And the last comment or the expression used in this graph is where sales stand, or sales stand at a particular level. And this is a common phrasal verb to describe where sales are at a particular time or at a particular level. So there you are, a variety of different terms to describe a fairly simple graph, but that's what you need if you are describing making a presentation or if you are doing a business English exam. You need different terms to make your presentation sound interesting. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks for watching, and look out for my third video, part 3 of this, describing a different situation. Thanks for watching. And do subscribe to my channel. There are many videos in the channel, over 30 now, and as a subscriber you do receive an automatic notification when I publish a new video. Goodbye for now.